What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Hearthstone. I promised you guys that I would bring you a nice arena run this time. We also have a new quest. It was the Meek shall inherit the earth, but I didn't know how many low-level creatures I would get, so I also got the Hunter and Mage victory, so if we don't get Hunter or Mage in this arena run, we'll work on that later. Without further ado, let's go to the arena. Forge a deck of random cards, then see how long you can last in the arena. The longer you last, the better your prize will be. Now, I believe last time I asked that the limit for wins in the arena is, I believe, 12 victories. I'm not going to get that far. Most I've ever gotten is 5. With 3 losses, obviously. So I played 8 games and lost 3. I believe once you get to 12, you end up thrown out of the arena and given the best prizes that you could possibly get. So, without further ado, let's pay for this. Purchase completed. And we will be given hero selections. Ooh, Hunter, Rogue, or Shaman. We got the Hunter, but I don't know. Last time I picked Hunter, it gave me some really bad picks. Rogue, I'm not so keen on. I haven't played Rogue very much, so I really don't know how to do this. But Shaman is pretty easy to play for me. It's one that I find comfortable. Out of the 3 of these, Hunter is most comfortable for me, but I need to start working outside that box. Let's go with Thrall. Summon a random totem. Okay, Stampeding Kodo, Wild Pyromancer, or Knife Juggler. Now, Stampeding Kodo's battle cry is a pretty good one. Destroy a random enemy minion with 2 or less attack. It's a 3/5 for 5. Its battle cry does make it a lot more worth for like the early game. Say your opponent has a whole bunch of small creatures out. Throw Stampeding Kodo. Oh, suddenly there's one less you have to worry about. Wild Pyromancer. After you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to all minions. Now, the Shaman is usually known for getting a very constructed. There's one thing you have to learn. Constructed and arena are 2 very different things. Wild Pyromancer, you can't really count on its ability because you don't know if you'll get many spells for your Shaman. However, Knife Juggler, after you summon a minion, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. Now, the thing with Pyromancer and Knife Juggler is they're both pretty much, without their battle cries, good cards on their own because they're both Bloodfed Raptors. The Stampeding Kodo is like a weaker Chillwind Yeti, but the right pick here is either Pyromancer or Knife Juggler because they're good cards on their own. Plus, this is the start, so we need some early game at the moment and late game. But I'm more tempted to go for the early game. But you always want to pick either Knife Juggler or Wild Pyromancer later, depending on how well your deck is forming. Knife Juggler is good for minions, of course, so we will use him. Murloc Raider, no, just no. That would be a -10 on Trump's list. Silver Moon Guardian, it's a 3/3 for 4 with Divine Shield. Now that's not very good that's not a very good strong card on its own. Well, with Divine Shield it is. That guarantees, unless someone pops the bubble with, say, a Knife Juggler, or the Mage can pop it with its Fire Blast, it will usually go for 1 on something. Or 1 for 1 on something big, like, say, a Water Elemental. The Frostwolf Warlord is a 4/4 for 5, and you can't really count on its battle cry that much. unless you have a whole bunch of little guys like the Murloc Raider. So the pick here is probably the Silvermoon Guardian because 4/4 for 5 is not really good. 3/3 for 4 isn't, but it's also got the Divine Shield. It's the only real pick, I believe, in these three. Now we've got the Bloodsail Raider, the Flame Tongue Totem, and Totemic Might. Totemic Might counts on you using your hero power quite often. It's a 0, so you could literally play it any time you want. It also counts the Flame Tongue Totem, because as you can see it says Totem right down here at the bottom. So, Totemic Might would increase this to off of 0/5 and giving adjacent minions +2 attack. Right now we don't really have that much. The Bloodsail Raider is a 2/3 for 2. It's a River Crocolisk. It's a decent pick, but to be honest, the Flame Tongue Totem is the stronger pick here because of its ability. Now we have the Gold Star Footman. This is a trap card right here. This is a very big trap because people see Taunt and they think, oh, that must be really good. It's not. It's a 1/2 for 1, so a Murloc Raider could easily take it out. Murloc Tidehunter, summon a 1/1 Murloc Scout. It's a 2/1 for 2, but because of its battle cry, it's effectively a 3/2 for 2, a Knife Juggler or a Bloodfin Raptor. Let's see, Dread Corsair. It's a taunt. It's a 3/3 and costs 1 less per attack of your weapon. Now it's a 4 for 3/3. That's similar to the Silvermoon Guardian. It's a taunt, but again, you really don't want to. You don't really know if you're going to get the Stormforged Axe or anything for the Shaman. So the real pick here is probably the Dread Corsair, just because it's the stronger of the cards. So yeah. Alright, we got Forked Lightning, Wisp, and Bloodlust. Now, Wisp is a 1/1 for 0. That's actually pretty ahead of the curve. Because it's a 1/1 for 0, I mean, it's still a joke card. Bloodlust is a nice card as well. Give your minions 3 attack for this turn. It doesn't count for anything else. Forked Lightning, deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions. Overload 2. Now, Overload means you lose 2 mana crystals your next turn, so it's not a very good card. I mean, it's not really a good ability, but only the Shaman has it, so it's still a good card because it's a 1 mana card. It deals 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions. It can actually take out like raptors and stuff. But the problem is it relies on 2 minions being out. Now, the Bloodlust also counts on minions being it doesn't count on minions being out. It could also up your character's attack. So out of these 3, I'd have to say Bloodlust is the correct choice because this relies too much on certain situations. Now, you don't really want the situation to happen. You want to control the board in Arena. So, Forked Lightning could offer you the control you need for board clear, but the problem is that you don't really want to be in the situation where you need to use it. Bloodlust, however, if you do control the board pretty well, Bloodlust is an excellent pick because it will help you control the board even more for 1 turn, but it will still help you control the board. Oh, Bloodfin Raptor. We got one of those types of cards. Knife Juggler, it's a 3/2 for 2. Dancing Swords is a pretty bad card just because of the fact of its death rattle. It's a really big drawback for a 4/4 for 3. Best you could really do is if you have like the Ironbeak Owl or something is you silence it, but again, that's constructed, so. Ancient Brewmaster, return a friendly minion from the battlefield to your hand. That's a pretty good thing. It's a young Brewmaster, but rather a lot stronger. It's a 5/4 for 4. It's actually a pretty good card. It would you say the Silver Moon Guardian's almost dead and his Divine Shield's obviously been popped, then you could use the Ancient Brewmaster to bring it back, and suddenly it's a 3/3. It's a 3/3 Divine Shield for 4 again. But again, it's just a strong card on its own because it's a 5/4 for 4. Now, these cards: Wind Speaker, 3/3 for 4 with a battle cry. Give a friendly minion Wind Fury. That's pretty good. Wind Fury is a pretty good ability. Spectral Knight, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. That's also very good. It's a 4/6 for 5. Ironforge Rifleman is a 2/2 for 3, and it deals 1 damage, so it's not a very good card, honestly. I mean, there's a card out there. There's a Ironforge card out there that's actually, Stormpike Commando, I think is what it is. He's like a 4/4 or something like that, and he deals 2 damage. So the real pick here, though, is Spectral Knight. We're only at 7 cards, so alright. Silverback Patriarch, there's that Spectral Knight again, and the Silver Hand Knight. This thing is effectively a 6/6 for 5, which is a very good. With the Squire, it's a 6/6. So the best card here is probably the Silver Hand Knight. We've already got a Spectral Knight. I mean, yeah, it doesn't hurt to have more, but the Silver Hand Knight's still the key pick here. Keeps giving me all this mid game. Okay, Reincarnate, Totemic Might, and Fire Elemental. The Fire Elemental is actually a very good pick. So is Reincarnate. I mean, I've seen my roommate do nasty things with Reincarnate and Ancestral Spirit. This is actually a pretty hard pick. I mean, Totemic Might, you have your hero power that procs pretty well with that. Reincarnate's pretty good for, say, the Silver Moon Guardian or the Silver Hand Knight or the Spectral Knight. Oh, wait, no, you can't actually. That's the thing with this. You can't actually you can't target it with spells either. So Reincarnate is actually very iffy with this card. And so, but I say the key pick here is probably the Reincarnate. But no, the Fire Elemental. It's giving me a lot of late game here too. Ooh, Lightning Storm, Ancestral Spirit. Oh, Ancestral Spirit. Beautiful. Willing Soul, that would come in handy if we had like the Dancing Swords out or something, but it's a 3/5 for 4 and it silences your minions. So that's not very good if you have like the Knife Juggler or the Silver Moon Guardian out, or, well, the Spectral Knight would actually be good because then it could use things, and other things have Battle Cry mostly. Oh, Ancestral Spirit's definitely good. So is Lightning Storm. It's a 3 cost and it deals 2 to 3 damage to all enemy minions, so it's pretty good for board clear. Overload 2, not so good, but still. That's a Shaman. That's what a Shaman does, is overload. I'd have to say Ancestral Spirit would probably be the best. That's actually a tough choice. We'll go Ancestral Spirit. Oh, Lightning Bolt, Earth Shock, and Totemic Might. Earth Shock is a pretty good pick. Silence a minion and then deal 1 damage to it. Lightning Bolt's another good one. Deal 3 damage, overload 1. These overload cards don't really matter in the late game so much because you can actually throw out a whole bunch of them. Then you can just wait a turn, and usually you have cleared the opponent's board. But Lightning Bolt's still a good, powerful card even with its overload cost. The Earth Shock is a pretty damn good card because you can silence like a taunt or something that's really beefed up. So we'll go with Earth Shock for now. Youthful Brewmaster. That's our Ancient Brewmaster, only slightly weaker. It's the Ancient Brewmaster is 2 mana up, 2 attack up, and 2 health up. So he's been around for a while. Then of course there's the Argent Squire and the Booty Bodyguard. The Argent Squire is not very good. I mean, in the early game it can go 2 for 1 against something, but after that it becomes pretty useless. The Booty Bay Bodyguard is a pretty good card, but I mean it's a 5/4 for 5. It's not ahead of the mana curve or anything, but it's still a good solid taunt. I mean, I know I say taunt's kind of a trap, but that's only against like the weaker minions. It's still a little bit of a trap here because you have the Youthful Brewmaster, which is pretty useful for early game. You could like summon a Silverhand Knight. Then either Youthful or Ancient Brewmaster it, summon it again, and then you have two squires. Then you're getting more worth out of your Silverhand Knight. I'll have to check again, but I think you can actually use the Ancient Brewmaster with the Spectral Knight. It can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. These are not spells or hero powers, so I think you can proc it. Or you can Youthful Brewmaster when you have your Fire Elemental out and do an additional 3 damage. So Youthful Brewmaster is pretty much the pick here. Okay, Frostwolf Warlord, another Fire Elemental, and Amani Berserker. Amani Berserker is actually not very good, considering we don't have very many things that can actually proc it. I mean, it's a good River Crocolisk as a River Crocolisk, but I mean, it'll go 1 for 1 with most 2 mana creatures, if not all. I'm not really sure. I'd have to check with like Trump or something. Check out his videos and stuff. I mean, Frostwolf Warlord, another decent card. Again, it relies heavily on having minions out, so it relies heavily on you actually controlling the board. And this deck isn't really looking like a control deck so far. I mean, I had that Lightning Storm I could have taken, which would have helped. Forked Lightning. The Fire Elemental. This is actually turning out to be quite an aggressive deck, I believe. The pick here, though, is the Fire Elemental. Let's see, Gurubashi Berserker. That's actually a pretty good card. I mean, in Constructed it is, because it you can beef it up in like a priest deck. So for Stone Skin Gargoyle, I mean, you guys have seen me play Divine Spirit, which doubles the health of something. If you put a couple powered shields on this, make it an 8. Then it goes to 16, then it goes to 32, then you enter fire, then they have to pretty much use something to instantly kill it. Like, say, Whirlwind it and then use a Execute on it. Or else it'll just keep healing every time. Mad Scientist. Put a secret from your deck into the battlefield. I'm not sure if Shamans have any secrets. I don't think I'll be getting them. But the card here to pick is probably the Gurubashi Berserker. Because, I mean, no, actually. Mad Scientist, it's a good solid, well, no, you don't really want a 2/2 for 2. You want a 3/2 for 2. Gurubashi Berserker is an okay card. I mean, it's 2 attacks, 7 health. Gain 3 attack for every, for when it takes damage. We'll go with the Gurubashi Berserker. No, we need a little more early game, so we'll go Stone Skin Gargoyle. Okay, we got another Silver Moon Guardian. Here it is, the Stormpike Commando. See? 4/2 for 2. I mean, 4/2 for 5 deals 2 damage. Chillwind Yeti. This card is actually pretty beast, not just because it's a Yeti, but because it's a 4/5 for 4. It pretty much pulls it out of range for a priest's Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death. It is the bane of a priest's existence in Constructed. It's a pretty solid card all around. I mean, a lot of people use it even in the arena. Silvermoon Guardian, it'd be better if it had taunt, because then they'd have to pop the shield or actually hit it, and then it'll pretty much take 2 hits to kill anyway. They'll have to waste mana. The Stormpike Commando is pretty good at soft removal, but the Yeti's probably the best pick of this because of its stats. Alright, we got Lightning Bolt again. Fairy Dragon, it's a Spectral Knight, but it's a Bloodfin Raptor Spectral Knight thing. And Earthen Ring Farseer. Earthen Ring Farseer is a very, very good card because it's a 3/3 for 3. That's pretty solid on its own, and it restores 3 health when it comes into play. You can choose whatever thing it heals, but it still restores 3 health. That's pretty damn sweet on its own. I'd say the pick here is probably the Earthen Ring Farseer. I mean, it procs with the Youthful Brewmaster and the Ancient Brewmaster. Okay, there's the Stormforged Axe. This actually becomes a little more useful because of the Dread Corsair. It'll cost 2 instead of 4. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But it also has Overload 1, so it's kind of got a draw. It's got one heck of a drawback. But again, I could be wrong. Overload is pretty bad, but it's not as bad as I'm probably bringing it out to be. Another Dread Corsair and Flame Tongue Totem. The Flame Tongue Totem, we have one. Never hurts to have 2, but I think the thing we want to pick here is the Stormforged Axe. Okay, Fourth Lightning again, Lightning Bolt again, and Raging Worgen. Now, we've got some good 2s. We got some good 2 drops, to be honest. And then we got 2 regular 2s. Raging Worgen, we could probably use another 3. Forked Lightning, again, pretty solid. Lightning Bolt, pretty solid. I think I'm going to go Lightning Bolt. That was actually a tough pick for me. Dark Iron Dwarf, solid card all around. 4/4 for 4, and it gives him a minion to attack. Now, that's to say, I don't think it can give itself to attack. Shattered Sun Cleric can't give itself the buff, but it's still a pretty good card. I mean, it could increase the life of a card. It could bring a card out of hero power range, like say we got a lot of cards. The Shattered Sun Cleric could make the Gargoyle a little bigger. It could make the Knife Juggler bigger to make it last longer. Almighty Berserker, again, we don't really have stuff to proc its enrage. I mean, Shattered Sun could make it a 3/4. That way, if it does get hit, it might survive and then become a big threat. Become a 6. So, but again, Shattered Sun or Dark Iron Dwarf are really the picks here. I'd probably have to say the Dark Iron Dwarf because of its stats and its Battle Cry. It's only for that turn, but you throw out a Dark Iron Dwarf and a Bloodlust, but that's a turn 9 thing. But still, if you throw out both of those, your opponent's not going to forget you. Dark Iron Dwarf. Okay, Ravenholt Assassin. Twilight Drake. That's actually a pretty good card, but it relies on you having cards in your hand. And the Azure Drake. That would actually increase the power of our Earth Shock and our Lightning Bolt. I don't think it doesn't proc Bloodlust that I'm aware of. Ravenholt Assassin, it's a 7/5 for 7 mana, and it's got Stealth. It guarantees that it's actually going to hit something. But the Twilight Drake's a pretty solid card with its Battle Cry. I mean, you take away the battle cry, it really has nothing. The Azure Drake is a 4/4 for 5. Draw a card. It's actually a pretty damn good card. It's a pretty big, I guess you could say, Novice Engineer. Now, let's see here. Let's choose the Azure Drake because, I mean, the Assassin's very good. The Drake's pretty good. But we need a little more late game. Oh! This is pretty good. We've got the Razorfin Hunter, which is a pretty decent card on its own. The Battle Cry, summoning the boar, makes it a 3/4 for 3 mana. It's pretty good in a constructed deck because you could work around it. The Mad Bomber, it's a decent card all around. It's a 3/2 for 2. It's a Bloodfen Raptor with the added ability of dealing 3 damage randomly split between everyone. Bloodsail Raider, we got the Stormforged Axe, so it procs off of that easy. But that's pretty much all. It's another River Crocolisk. We'll go with the Mad Bomber. I prefer Bloodfen Raptor over that. Okay, we've got the Defender of Argus, which is just 2 costs more than the Sunfury Protector, but it also gives 1/1 and taunt, which can make things like, I don't know, the Chillwind Yeti, Silver Moon Guardian, the Silverhand Knight, Spectral Knight. It can make them very, very scary looking. It can also make the Spectral Knight very scary too. Sunfury Protector, just throw it out, gives your minion taunt. That's it. Priestess of Elune, it's basically it's a 1 cost. It's a 1 cost 2/1. I don't really like 1 health creatures that much. I mean, there are exceptions like the Novice Engineer. But the Young Priestess is a pretty solid. It's a Blood Imp with 2 attack pretty much, and it doesn't stealth. That's all. Defender of Argus or Sunfury Protector are the choices here. If given the chance, I am given the chance, so I'm picking the Defender of Argus, just because it gives adjacent minions 1/1. Okay, Wind Fury. Give a minion Wind Fury. Wind Fury allows you to attack twice on the same turn. That's pretty solid on its own. Bloodfen Raptor. It's a 3/2 for 2. Again, it's a pretty solid card. Raid Meter is a big target. That's what he is. He's just an orc with a target painted on his back. Wind Fury or Bloodfen Raptor. We've got, let's see, Flametongue Totem, Knife Juggler, Mad Bomber, and Youthful Brewmaster. That's 4 2-drops that is a minion. And we've got the Stormforged Axe and the Ancestral Spirit as spells. Given the chance, I'll pick the Bloodfen Raptor. Okay. Southsea Deckhand, Undertaker, and Unbound Elemental. Unbound Elemental, let's see, we've got Lightning Bolt, Stormforged Axe. Do we got anything else with Overload? No, we do not. Lightning Bolt and Stormforged Axe are pretty early cards. You could actually wait and use it with your Unbound Elemental, which I'm not sure if it's just Overload or the Overload cost. I mean, they're both 1, so it really doesn't matter. It'll be a 4/6 when you proc those 2. So, but again, you're playing it with Overload, so you'd have to be pretty into it in order to do that, or hope that it stays alive. Undertaker, there's not really many things here other than the Ancestral Spirit that gives it Death Rattle. But that's the problem. It has to have Death Rattle when you summon it. And as far as I can see, I really don't have anything with Death Rattle. So Unbound Elemental is really the pick here. Alright, we got Lightning Bolt, the Nerubar Weblord, and Stone Tuskboar. Now, the problem is we've got a lot of things in here that have Battle Cry. So the Nerubar Weblord is not good for us at the moment. It would be good in another deck that doesn't have a lot of battle cry. Lightning Bolt's the pick here. Oh man, these guys really want us to pick Lightning Bolt. Wind Fury or Lightning Bolt? I'd have to say I go with Lightning Bolt. I mean, no, we've got 2 Lightning Bolts. I'll go with the Wind Fury, just because it'll like boost to Silverhand Knight or a Fire Elemental. Direwolf Alpha, Mogushan Warden, and Ventureco Mercenary. Ventureco is a pretty solid 7/6 to throw out on turn 5. I mean, all my other minions will cost 3, but it's still a 7/6. Direwolf Alpha, it's a raid leader. Target pain on its back, of course. Mogushan Warden, it's a really decent taunt. I mean, it's better in constructed because you can work around it. You can increase its health, increase its attack, stuff like that. I mean, we could increase its attack pretty well, to be honest, with the Dark Iron Dwarf and the Bloodlust, as well as like the did I take the Silver Moon Guardian? Yeah, I did. And the we don't have the Shattered Sun Cleric, so let's see. I guess these are really bad cards, to be honest. Ventureco is only really good if you don't plan on playing things for a while, or if you give him taunt. But again, our Defender of Argus would cost like 7, so we'd have to wait like 2 turns to give it taunt. Oh, I don't have very much taunt in this deck, so I'll throw Mogushan in. Okay, Corehound, 9/5 for 7, not a very good card on its own. Bloodsail Raider. Now, the Corehound can be taken out with a Reckless Rocketeer. I mean, come on. But again, this isn't constructed, so you can't really count on that card to be played a lot, but still, like, what do we have here that could actually do that? Fire Elemental actually costs 1 less and would take it out easy. It can actually exchange with the Corehound. Dancing Swords, again, bad card. Bloodsail Raider, decent with the with our Stormforged Axe. These are actually really bad cards, to be honest. I'm going to have to probably say the Bloodsail Raider because we have the Stormforged Axe. So, actually no. We need a little bit of late game. Let's go Corehound. I can't guarantee this will go. Ooh, the Ironbeak Owl. Nice. Acidic Swamp Ooze, always good. We'll actually just grab that. And our last card will probably be the Mana-Tide Totem. The Crazed Alchemist is a good card. It can like beef up the Stoneskin Gargoyle or the Unbound Elemental, Chillwind Yeti, Mogushan Warden, but we should like beef up his attack first before we use Crazed Alchemist, because then he's like a 7/1 and a Novice Engineer can take him out. But I'd have to say the Mana-Tide Totem is probably the best pick here because at the end of every turn I draw a card. So Secret Keeper, no secrets, so it's really bad. Mana-Tide Totem, and that is our deck. Tell me what you think of my choices in the comments. The rating system, I don't have a rating system like Trump's iDraft, but I probably picked very poorly on most of these. I'm not really used to playing a Shaman. But again, it's good to... This deck has a lot of early game. It's kind of good mid-game, and it's got some poor late game. But again, you could play multiple small things in the late game, and it could actually turn things around for you. But yeah, tell me what you know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe if you think that I'll go at least if I'll get at least 3 wins. Like, comment, subscribe if you just like some of the picks that I made. Let's see. again, tell me what you think of my picks in the comments. Tell me which picks I did wrong, which picks I did right. Both help me become a better player, and it helps me bring better plays to you, so that you guys can learn a lot more. That's purely what my channel is. It's educational for you guys. So I will see you when we go to take on the arena with this Shaman deck that we just threw together from random cards. So, everyone, gamers, keep gaming.